as you know, uh, it appears that the Holyk family, through their attorney, contacted the mediator and asked for this suit to be closed through mediation. I found out about that yesterday sitting at this table with my attorney, Greg Jackson, and Steve Bartell from County Safety Loss. We weren't put on notice that that was going to happen. We were preparing for trial starting Monday. So it appears that the family's attorney contacted the mediator, and the risk pool, again, without telling us, decided that they were going to settle the matter. I think they were authorized $1 million, and I think that's what the final settlement is probably going to be at, which is significantly less than the parties had asked for originally. One of the things that I find in this situation is that it really shows just how thorough the investigation that the Washington State Police, our patrol, and City of Spokane Police Department did in this matter. Every ounce of evidence that was used on either side of this issue came from that investigation. It was very thorough, very detailed. The experts that were brought in were very thorough, very detailed. And it shows that the reviews that this went through, to include our Citizen Advisory Board, took all things into account. And I believe that that is what ultimately led to this case being resolved rather than going to trial, was the fact that the evidence consistently showed that Joe Bodman was not the causal effect of this. So, with that in mind, any questions?
How do you feel about the settlement? Obviously, you were prepping to go to trial.
I've stated it multiple times. I feel that this should have gone to trial because that is the only way that the facts ultimately come out in totality. I'm not a huge fan of settling lawsuits. I think that these suits should go to trial, but I, the county, and our attorney don't make that call. It's the risk pool that makes that call, and that's what happened in this case.
If Deputy Bodman wasn't the causal factor in the accident, who or what was?
You know, Mitch, I think if you take the totality of the situation, anytime you come out against a red light, there's going to be a causal effect to that, and that's what happened that night. The facts speak for themselves.
Which is to say Ryan was the causal effect?
The thing is, Mitch, what you're trying to do is trying to get me to blame the kid. I'm not going to blame the kid. That's not going to happen. Tried it a couple of times. I'm going to put the brakes on you right now. This is a tragic situation that a 15-year-old boy went out in the middle of traffic and ended up losing his life. And that's what happened. There's a series of things that should have changed that, but it didn't. But the end game is when you come out against a red light, things can happen, and that's what happened in this case.
So $1 million settlement?
That's what appears that it's going to be.
Do you know what they were originally asking for?
The number 15 comes to mind, but I can't remember. It was a lot of money.
So even though the sheriff's office is confident that, during the trial you would have been able to show that Deputy Bodman was not at fault, do you think this ultimately saves money in the long run, reaching a settlement as far as attorney's fees and spending all that time in court, or?
The way it's always been explained to me is these are business decisions. People weigh risks And again, I really believe that it should have been, it should have gone to trial. I believe that the Creech case should have gone to trial.
And you said this was tentative, does that mean it's not?
All I know is
Fully, or-
that
okay.
I'm reading the correspondences back and forth. It doesn't say final. So I think there's still language that's being worked.
Can you explain the Washington County risk pool a little bit? Because you said they're the ones who had the authority to decide to settle. And I know the county and many counties in the state are members of that. Is it basically kind of
It's
the
an
insurance
pool.
company? Okay.
Yeah, it's an insurance pool. It's an insurance company.
Okay. Have you been able to speak with the Holyk family at all, or is that something that would happen?
You know, I really would like to, but that's going to have to be between the attorneys to set up, I guess.
What would you like to say to them?
You know, I think the thing that I hope that that this kind of brings resolution, that this gives everybody a chance to heal. And you know, I know that Ryan's mother has started a bicycle awareness effort, and our scope unit has helped with that in the past. I would really like to be able to help her move that forward.
This finally, maybe, like you said, the resolution, the end of this case, because it's been ongoing for such a long time, and every time we think it's closed, something else comes up, but this is the final
Appears to be.
thing.
Aside from the people involved in this specifically, what do you think this resolution means to the community? So many people have been following this story for so long.
Again, I think that it means for the community that the investigation was done correctly. The investigation had all the materials that both sides used, and ultimately I think it was the strength of that investigation that caused this to be resolved.
Have you talked to the deputy involved?
Talked to him yesterday.
What did he have to say?
You know, anytime that you're involved in these type of things, it takes a great emotional toll on everybody involved. These are things that both sides of families are going to live forever. And I don't know what you ever say to anybody in that type of situation. You know, there aren't words for these type of situations. There's only the ability to hope that final resolution brings that healing and that peace. Anything else?